Why you should never buy property cash. First and foremost, it's just not good use of your money. And I'm going to give you a few examples showing you when you invest in property buying cash versus leveraging a mortgage, putting less money down, because it's all about cash and cash return. So let me break this down. There's this idea that buying property cash is the way forward and it's going to get you a deal. In fact, a lot of people use that when it comes to negotiating with a seller and saying, I'll buy your property cash, as if that's going to incentivize them to take a lower offer to sell the property quickly. And that is the right way of doing things. In fact, that's how a lot of people are able to get deals done a lot quicker, because they use that carrot of, I'll buy your property cash. Because a cash sale normally takes a lot quicker for the property to go through the conveyancing and for the seller to sell and for you as the buyer to be able to buy that property. Traditional house sales, for a residential mortgage, the average in the UK is 5.5 months for a property going on the market, getting sold, and the money landing in the seller's account. In Scotland specifically, it's 4.5 months. So that's still quite a long period of time for someone to wait to get their money. So when someone's looking for a quick sale and there's this offer of a cash purchase, then that means that a cash purchase can happen a lot quicker, but it's also not strictly correct. Let me explain. Because the solicitor still needs to do their conveyancing. So the conveyancing part, in terms of solicitor doing their duties, is they're going to look at the title of the property that you're buying. They're going to look and see if there's any onerous things that you need to be aware of and there's any issues, and they still need to do all their checks in terms of anti-money laundering and where your cash is coming from. And as much as they can transact a lot quicker because it's a cash purchase and there's not a lender involved. So most cash purchases, the quickest that I have personally transacted on a property as a cash purchase is 10 days. So it can be very quickly. In those 10 days, we're able to do that because two things. One, I've got a great relationship with that solicitor. They were already preempted before the offer was accepted that this was likely going to happen, so they could turn it around quickly. And I also said to them that they can do their normal standard checks, but if they find anything that's any problematics about the property, they don't need to worry about that because we'll deal with that. So as an experienced investor, we know how to deal with any of those kind of what-if problems, and we did our due diligence, we were happy, and we were able to transact quick. Now, that's fine. And it's just like I've said to you, I've bought property cash, but I would try your hardest to avoid it. And you can still make the cash purchase offer. It's just not your cash. You can use such as bridging finance. There's bridging companies out there that will allow you to be able to buy a property inside of 2 to 3 weeks. Normally, they'll be able to turn that transaction around inside of 4 weeks. So keep that in mind. That's still a very quick sale. As long as the seller knows that you're going to transact and purchase that property, and solicitors have been instructed and in communication between your solicitor and the seller's solicitor, that's normally enough for the seller to feel comfortable that the property is getting sold and it's going to happen relatively quickly. So this whole idea of buying cash and having to use your own money just because you think it's going to be a quick transaction. I know many people who buy cash and still take 2 months or more for the sale to go through because of the conveyancing process. So just keep that in mind too. Now, bridging finance. A lot of people say, well, bridging finance is expensive. I get that. I understand that. But this is where you're looking at this all the wrong way, and I'm going to give you an example. This is where you need to look at cash on cash return on your investment, the capital that you put into a property deal. So let's look at an example of buying cash as well as leveraging a mortgage. Now, before I get into that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Why? Because I like to give out as much content, much value for you guys. And the more you guys subscribe, especially those that go in there and comment and hit that, love heart and let us know how you feel about the video and the content I'm putting out there, it just inspires me to give more to help you guys on your property journey as well. So make sure you're subscribed. So back onto the example. So let's say you're going to buy a property. I'm going to keep it super simple numbers to be easy to comprehend here, okay? So let's say you're going to buy a property for £80,000, right? You're going to buy it for 80 grand. And if you're going to buy that cash, you need to buy the whole 80,000. And let's say the renovation that's required, the legals, and the additional dwellings tax for the second home that you're going to be having, so stamp duty, let's say that all that comes to 20,000. So you're in for a full £100,000 to buy the property for 80, the renovation, the legals, and the stamp duty, right? So it comes up to £100,000. And let's say you were then going to go and sell that property and you made, let's say, £20,000 profit. Right, so you sold it for 120 grand. Of course, you've got estate agency fees to sell and a few other bits and bobs, but just look at this for a little second. So you put 100 in, you made 20 grand. So you got a 20% cash on cash return on your investment. That might sound great, but what you've done is tied up 100% of your money, 100,000, into buying that one property. So let's say that you leverage a mortgage. So a mortgage lender would normally give you 75% of the purchase price. So in that example, if you're going to buy a property for 80,000, the lender's going to give you £60,000 of that. So you just need to put down £20,000 deposit. You still have the other £20,000, which is the legals, the stamp duty, and the refurb. So now we've got £40,000 of our acquisition costs that need to go down. So that's a saving of 60,000. You still have 60,000 of your 100,000 to go and put that into another property deal because you're only using 40,000 of that. Now, same scenario, you buy that property, you renovate it, you sell it, and it sells for 120,000. You're not making £20,000 profit. Why? Because you've got some interest fees to pay on the mortgage that you've taken. And again, you've still got those selling fees. So let's take 5 grand away and you've only made 15,000. So you might turn around and say, well, if I bought it cash, Paul, then I'm making 20 grand. But now I'm leveraging a mortgage and I've got extra costs. I'm only making 15. That's 5 grand less. Well, what is your cash on cash return? You only invested 40,000 to make 15,000. That equates to a 37.5% cash on cash return. So the first example, buying cash, you only made 20% cash on cash return. You're almost doubling your cash on cash return. Why? Because you're leveraging. You're leveraging other people's money, in this case, a lender. And you've got to look at how much money are you putting in and what's your cash on cash return. And this is why bridging costs and financing should not even be considered expensive, because less of your own money going in, higher cash on cash return. And the best part is you still have that £60,000 that you didn't use that you would have used if you put it all into one property. To do what with? Go and buy another property, and let's say it only requires another £40,000 of that. So now you've put £80,000 of your money into 2 deals, still get 20 grand sitting there, right? And if you're getting a 37.5% cash on cash return on that property and the same there, that's like close to, that's a 75% cash on cash return on your money. That is significantly more, almost 4 times your 20% cash on cash return if you put that all into the one property deal. And this is why you should never buy property cash. Look to leverage. And of course, even if that's the carrot you use to dangle to get the deal, I'll buy your property cash, you can still transact quickly using bridge and finance in order for you to be able to complete and turn that around inside of only a couple of weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, so that things move quickly for the seller. They get exactly what they want, and you get a greater cash on cash return. The sooner you grasp this here and understand the power of leverage, leveraging other people's money, lenders' money, private investment money, anyone else's money, joint venture partners' money, other than yours, to allow your money to be spread into multiple deals, that's a game changer. This changes everything in your approach to do a lot more deals, de-risking a lot more opportunities in terms of, being involved in multiple deals, not tying all your capital up in one. That's it. Game changer. And this will change your whole game in order for you to go and leverage and do a lot more in your property business and ultimately get a higher cash on cash return to do more deals. So as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you get any comments, pop it in the comments below and I'll be sure to go in there to respond and answer. Until the next time, all the best and bye for now.